Excel practice number 4. I took the liberty of entering all of the basic data into the spreadsheet. Here you can see the university is called Clown College, and this is class Juggling 401, and these are the grades from that fake class. By the way, you can attend Clown College. It is in Florida, at the Barnum and Bailey Ringling Brothers Circus, and they do in fact have a class called Juggling 401. I don't think you can take it in the spring of 2020 though. So in this particular fictitious class, these are students, and you can enter all of that data. These are their student ID numbers. Those aren't real. And then these are their scores of their 3 exams. So they took 3 exams, and then they had a participation grade. And if we wanted to average those 4 grades together in this box right here, you'll recall that this is one of the hot pink cells, so that's going to have a formula in it. And what we would like is the regular average that the student did, that Stephen Thomas did over these 3 exams and the participation grade. Well, as you know, or maybe you don't, and this is your memory, this is a really cool average formula that will pop in there for you, and you can average these 4 cells together by selecting them and pressing enter. And then you have the autofill option. Sheets and Excel for that matter are smart enough to realize that usually after you do one of these formulas, you want to copy it down, and I'll go ahead and choose that option, and it will take care of it. Life is good. You can see here we have some of these that go to 2 decimal places, so what I want to do is just to neaten this up a little bit. I only want to go to 1 decimal place, and so I click on my getting rid of decimal places toolbar option. Weighted average, this is the challenging one. So this is the regular average. If I just average these 4 grades together, boom, this is the student will get an 86.8% in that particular class. The problem is these exams are probably worth a little bit more, say, than the participation is in the class. And you've probably had classes like this where the tests are worth more like than the participating or the homework. In this particular class, the weighted average is down here. This is data that you'll enter. It's provided for you on the rubric right here. So all I did was enter that data right over here. These are just regular things in the cell. You can see I just typed in 0.3 there. Okay. If I wanted to see these as percents, because usually that's how we talk about things, I can click on my toolbar there, and we can neaten it up just a ditch. So we have 25%, 30%, 30% for the 3 exams, and then just 15% left for participation. Okay. And let's go ahead and leave those as decimals. Whoopsies. Oh, we'll do this. There we go. We'll just format them back as regular numbers. Okay. So the weighted average, what we want is this percentage times what Stephen got on his first test, this percentage times what he got on his second test, this percentage times what he got on his third test, and this percentage times what he got on his fourth test. Oh, sorry, on his participation. So we're going to put a formula in here, and it starts with equal sign, of course. And what we want then is the information in this cell right here, and we want to multiply it. So that's a cool little star thing for multiplication. We want to multiply it times this cell. And then some of you have already picked up that I've made a mistake, and that's okay. Then we want to take this cell and multiply it times this cell for the weighting, okay? And then I want to add to that the information in this cell times the information in this cell. And I want to add to that the information in this cell times the information in this cell. Now, Sheets is really smart, and so is Excel, and they understand the order of operations, so they will do those multiplications, those stars first, and then they will do the addition. If you remember PEMDAS from back in the day, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. When I used to teach math, I made up a funny story about my Aunt Sally. And so then we have all of these averages. And this will be fine for this particular cell. If I just hit enter, we see that the actual grade in the class is an 86%, 85.9%. And that's because he didn't do so well on this second exam, but he did pretty good on participation, but participation isn't worth all that much. The problem is if I do Control C on that and copy this down and press enter, sorry, and Control V, we're going to have some issues here because it's not going to copy down well. So I'm going to pretend that I didn't do that. And I'm going to go back to this formula right here. And I'm going to enter some absolutes. Okay, and that's where this number sign is really cool. It will make sure that every time we select new student, it keeps working with the weighting that we put into our lower cells down there that you entered. And if you're still awake, the last one I have to do is right there. And so now, okay, oh, come on, TK. There we go. So you can see now these cells are going to be absoluted. They are not going to change when we copy them down. So I can go Control C here and then select and Control V. And now I have the weighted averages. So you can see like this student right here, they had a 92.3 if we just average these four scores together. But if we weight them, then that person ended up with a 92.45%. Okay. And in this column, I also want them all to one decimal place. So I'll go to my decimal place right there. Whoopsies. And we'll make sure that there is all to one decimal place. Then finally, you see this class average right here. Okay, so this formula is a little bit gnarly, but I've got it recorded for you and you can see it. And it's also, by the way, on the rubric, which is right down here. And you can see how it's sort of set up here in the rubric for this particular little spreadsheet. Okay, but you can also see it on the recording now. Last thing is the class average. We want to know how everybody did on exam one as a class. So we can average, remember that's our function over here, these scores. And then if I Control C, I can Control V all the way across. And that will give me the average of their participation grades, of their exam grades, if I just did the regular average of their grades, and then the weighted average of their grades. Okay? From here, then it's just a matter of kind of neatening things up a little bit. We can change the color scheme. You know, you can give it a fill color if you want. And here we want these to be bolded and centered, so we can select them all and we can bold them. And it looks like they're centered up already. That's cool. Okay. And maybe we want both of these bolded, and maybe we want the one just a little bit larger, and you can change the font size and all kinds of stuff like that. Tricky part is this formula right here, okay? I'm certainly glad to help you with that after we sign off today. Okay? Last thing on the rubric is to create sorts, I believe. Yeah, create sorts for each header. So spreadsheets are really good at sorting things. If I take these guys right here, this funny little, I don't even know what that's called. It's like a clothesline or a Y or a weird delta shape or something. I want to create a filter. So you notice I highlighted these bolded pieces right here, and I want to create them as filters. And you'll notice they get these cool little triangle deals, or these like Wi-Fi things on them. And what's fun about this is that if I wanted to sort, say, by the scores by exam one, I can then sort this Z to A backward, and then I would know which student, this is Billy Joel Richards, got the highest score on exam one. Okay, if I wanted to see who had the highest score on exam two, I can sort that way now, Betty Rasmussen. Okay, and if I want to get rid of the sorts, I just select all of those again, and I come over here and I turn off the filter. But I asked you to create those sorts or turn on the filter with that information. And then you can sort by any of the, you can sort them by student ID, you can sort them by student's name, in this case it would be their last name. And that's how you create sorts in a spreadsheet. Okay? Whoopsie daisies. Whoopsies. There you are.